What is going on, everybody? It is Konka coming to you live from the other side. And once again, it is time. I am back with another stream finally after a couple weeks. And I am back to a drawing stream. And as I already said on the Twitter, on the X, just after watching one tutorial video, just one tutorial video, like I said, first of all, before I get into that, I said that I was not doing any more drawing streams until I took more notes, watched more tutorials and took more notes. In February is when I decided to go on a hiatus to begin my creative design journey by taking notes on the various Creative Cloud apps and how to use all of them, plus some other apps as well. But then only shortly after that I strayed away from taking notes on those videos. I kept the playlist, but I strayed away from taking notes. And that was a mistake, because as you guys already were seeing, stream after stream after stream, I did 3 drawing streams, and in all 3 streams I was suffering. In all 3 streams I made it very, very obvious that I had no idea what I was doing. And hang on a second, I'm just reloading the okay. Alright, it's still telling me that the stream health is poor, but hopefully that changes soon. So, it was very clear that I had no idea what I was doing, and so I said I am not going back to drawing streams until I go back to taking notes. So I went back on my Google Doc where I was originally taking notes on these apps, and I went back to taking notes on them. Now, I have not taken full-length notes on every single one, but as I watch tutorial videos, because I have playlists saved for all these apps, I'm taking notes on how the people in the videos did what they did, and I am making sure that as I'm taking notes, because of the age of these tutorials, that I have my app open, the current versions of the apps open, so that I can follow along, because the settings changed with most of these updates. You know, Adobe Illustrator was not the same several years ago. So, just, again, not significantly different, but not 100% the same. And just off of one tutorial video that I watched, just off of one of the first videos in the playlist that I saved, I said I am deleting the eye that I drew and starting entirely over. That eye that I spent 3 streams on, I said I am doing it over and deleting it. And now what you see on the screen is something that I did in a matter of minutes. All I did was I went on Google Images, looked at like an anime male eye reference, and traced that, and then drew what I wanted on the inside of the eye. So I had to look at an image of a teardrop as well, so because I wanted to make sure it was even, or as even as possible. And then I drew what I wanted to be surrounding the teardrop, which those are supposed to be little thorns. Some of them are a lot longer than the other ones. I did this in a matter of minutes. The eye that I deleted, I spent 3 streams on. Which is proof that I had no idea what I was doing, because there is no reason why it took that long, just to do something as simple as drawing an eye. Like, it was just abundantly clear that I had no idea what I was doing. Hey, how's it going, Cameron? Thank you for coming in. It was abundantly clear that I had no idea what I was doing. There is no reason why it took 3 streams to draw an eye. Like, I don't care if I'm a beginner at digital art. 3 streams is crazy. So what's going on today is I am redrawing the eye that I spent 3 streams drawing prior. I deleted it because it was not looking the way that I needed it to look, and for those 3 streams, I was struggling to do anything. Like, it was so clear that I had no idea what I was doing. And on Thursday, I watched a tutorial video. Where a person it was a series that they had. They sketched an image. They drew over the image again. They called it inking, and then they colored the image in. Just from those 2 videos, I didn't watch all of the second video yet, but I will in the next drawing stream. I will be doing the coloring part. Just from that video alone, I was like, I'm deleting the eye, and I'm gonna do this process differently. What I was doing in the first 3 streams was I was uploading Google images as references and then drawing over them digitally. That was not working out. Like, eventually I got the shape that I wanted. My cursor's not being captured. Oh, it should be. I'm not sure why you can't see it. But yeah, I was able to get the shape of the eye, and then the shape of the teardrop. Yeah, I'm not sure why you're not seeing the cursor. It's definitely supposed to be getting captured. All right. Well, wait. Is it because I need the? No. Yeah, I'm not sure why you're not seeing the cursor. But yeah, something about the crash. Yeah, like because I'm definitely like I'm crashing out at myself because I'm telling you, it was very clear that I had no idea what I was doing. So, just from the first tutorial video alone, I was like, this is the best tutorial I've watched. Like, out of all the tutorials that I was trying to watch on stream trying to draw this eye, the one that I watched off stream was the best, most helpful one. So I am doing this entirely differently now. So instead of throwing in a bunch of Google images and tracing over them, what I did was I followed the steps of the person in this video. Like, I try not to completely copy their settings because I gotta be different here, but for most of the settings I did copy because I realized it was the most effective way of doing this. So I hand drew this entire eye. Like, this entire eye, I just hand drew it. Like, I got a piece of paper and looked up Google images to use as references and just traced over those, and then completed the eye myself. And that's what I have uploaded in here. It's dimmed down because I'm gonna be drawing or sketching over this. That's what we're gonna be doing. So the first step, based on the video that I saw, the first step. Yes, I'm trying to get more professional, and I'm thankful to all the tutorials that I've seen, all those people who put up the tutorials. So yes, the first step was uploading a hand-drawn image into this app. And now the second step is going to be drawing over what I hand drew. Drawing over it digitally. After I do that, I'm going to create another layer to then what he called inking. It's just gonna be like a final touch drawing, like to make it look more clean. which I may have to look at his video again to know if I can't remember everything. I have an idea of what to use, which I'm gonna need. I have no idea. Oh, you know what? Maybe this is. I think I know why you can't see anything. Oh no, it's correct. But for some reason, you're not seeing the full window. You're not seeing my toolbar or anything like that. I'm not sure why. Alright. So yeah, there's gonna be another tool that I use to, kind of perfect this. Yes, thank you for watching. There's gonna be another tool that I will use to make it look more perfect, and the final step is gonna be coloring it in, which will be another layer. Well, that's the layer that I have underneath. The chat's kind of blocking it, but underneath the layer that says hand drawing is a layer that says coloring. Yeah, that should be beneath it. That should definitely be beneath it. I believe this should also be locked. Okay. So, yeah, the coloring part is the last step. But I'm gonna make the layers now, just so I don't have to worry about it later. So, hand drawing is what no, that's what I just uploaded. So let me go on selection tool so I'm not doing anything. So the next layer is going to be the rough sketch layer. That's gonna go on top of hand drawing. Then another layer on top of that one. I'll call it final sketch. Oops. And then coloring is going to be on the bottom. So now I'm going to go on rough sketch. And actually I'm gonna pull up his tutorial video just to make sure that I have the layers set up right, so that I'm not doing anything that messes anything up. I should be fine for now though, but let me just make sure. That's muted. Okay. I'm just gonna look at his video for a second to make sure. Okay, I'm right. So yeah, the hand drawing layer is the one that's supposed to be locked. So that's good. Okay. Okay, yeah. So actually, one thing I should mention, another way that people will know that I had no idea what I was doing is up on the top toolbar where you see the things that say uniform and sketch brush. This drop down did not say. You can't even see the drop down. But yeah, that drop down did not even say sketch brush before. Like I went in here and I deleted because I had like so many different brushes made because I didn't know what I was doing. So I went up in that drop down and deleted all of those brushes, and I created just two different brushes. The first one I call the sketch brush, and the second one I call the inking brush. That's the one that I'm gonna use after the sketch brush. So yeah, I'm on sketch brush right now, and I'm gonna go into the paint tool, the paintbrush tool. I have it selected now. Unfortunately, you guys can't see any of these um, um, tool things that I'm opening up, but I have the paintbrush tool open now, and let me just make sure that my line. I also went into all the properties and made sure that I set all of my settings for that, so it should look. Yep. Should look something like that. Not sure if that is gonna be too thick or what. But oh no, my opacity is too high. That's right. I wanted my opacity down just a little bit. I'm probably gonna do like 60. Like not too low. Yeah, something like that. Because what that does when I lower the opacity, artists, you already know this, but when I lower the opacity, that makes it look more gray. So in other words, it makes it look more like a pencil drawing, rather than just straight up black like it's drawn with a Sharpie. Because I wasn't doing that in the other three streams. I was just paintbrush tool drawing all over it. It was looked completely dark and uneven and everything. So yes, I'm excited to see how this turns out too. Like I have a friend who's trying to host an art thing, and the deadline to submit art is tomorrow, so I'm gonna miss out on that. But I'll definitely submit this for the next one, or I'll see if she'll let me still submit it after that point. But yes, all right. So I got that figured out, and so now I'm going to start sketching everything that is inside of this eye. Yeah, this stream definitely is not going to be very long, but we'll see how long it takes for me to sketch this entire thing. And I am not going to aim for absolute perfection. That's what I'm not going to do right now. This is just step one. So, of the drawing process, step one of the drawing process. So I don't need to worry about having it be absolutely perfect yet. But let me just go ahead and start. I'll start at the top here. I gotta make sure I don't hold the brush down for too long, so that it's not just a one big line. Alright, yeah, it's already starting to look a little bit crooked, but that's why we have the tools that will let us fix all that afterwards. Okay. I don't like that my hands just naturally wiggle. Like when I'm trying to go straight, my hands will just naturally do the most uneven. Okay, right there. I'm gonna undo that and start over. I can't try to go backwards and undo something that's not straight and just fix it later. But I'm noticing that every time I stop, it's kind of leaving a space between the lines, but oh well. That could be fixed in the next step. And I have to remember, this is a digital drawing. It's not this is not hand drawing right now, like physical hand drawing. So of course it's going to be even harder to get everything straight on the first sketch, rough sketch. I'm just going to undo that and start again. And one thing that cracked me up when I was trying to look at a tutorial, I just wanted to know how to get rid of a tool that I had opened up, because there was no clear way to get, for me, there was no clear way of getting rid of it. This person made an entire video. Yes, I'll make sure to show you my artistic ability. This person made an entire video explaining the way to get rid of the tool, and then somebody in the comment section just simply put the controls to get rid of it. That was it. The whole comment was just Shift plus Control plus I to get rid of the tool that I had open. That's all that they said. And I'm just like, thank you, because this was a long video just explaining how to get rid of a tool. Like, that person was better off making a silent video just showing how to get rid of it. Yes, thank you very much from Cameron. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Alright, so I got that part done. Honestly, this is still kind of a little too dark. I probably should have dropped the opacity a little bit further, but it's fine. Alright. All of this is just the eyebrow. Oops. All of this is just the eyebrows so far. But anime eyebrows are pretty decent. I really like that when I told people at my job that I was getting into drawing, that's when I found out how much they themselves were also into drawing, and they were showing me pictures of things that they drew, and they like blew me away. But for future projects and everything like that, for the future of this channel, it is important that I get better, and also for the purpose of me finding a job in this field, it is important that I get better at this stuff. Alright. And today's stream will not be long, but tomorrow you'll have Yami trying to finish Persona 3 Reload. That'll be a much longer stream because she's really trying to get that game done. I do like that it tries to correct your drawings as you're putting them out. Alright, so that's the eyebrow. That was all just the eyebrow. No, it's alright if you're not able to watch it live, you know. If you just watch the VOD, that's still, you're still supporting the channel, so I need to, I really need to encourage myself to start streaming more often because I have not been streaming very often anymore. Like I've kind of gone back to doing a 2 days a week kind of thing, and it's just because of being so exhausted from my job. But I can give you guys an idea of what's coming up though. Once Persona 3 Reload is done, there is a game that's going to be returning. There is a game that I originally had put down that I am planning on picking back up. So when I make the thumbnail, I'm literally gonna the title's gonna be Surprise. Like I'm gonna put surprise in the title. Alright, let's start on the eye now. Oops, nope, I'm still on the slashing tool. Alright, back to the brush tool. Alright, let's get this eye drawn now. Okay, I'm gonna lower the opacity to 50. Okay. I'll leave the eyebrow alone, but yeah, for the rest of the eye, the opacity's gotta be a little bit lower for the sketching part so that it looks more like it was hand-drawn, like physically hand-drawn. I am slouching so much right now. But during the days that I haven't been streaming, also, on top of taking a bunch of notes, I was binging. Like, I binged the first season of Berserk. That is definitely an incredible show. But the entire reason that I started binging that show was because I was getting clowned for questioning why everybody thought it was better than Demon Slayer. But after watching the first season, my opinion still stands. Do I recommend Berserk? Oh, absolutely. And recommend Berserk, absolutely. It's a phenomenal show. Gets off to a bit of a slow start, but you definitely have to be patient with that. It's not long. There's only 13 episodes in the first season and 14 in the second one. So I still have one more episode to watch in the first season, but I've for the last few days have binged that show. a very good show, but my opinion still stands. I do not think it is better than Demon Slayer. But it is definitely a phenomenal show. Now, what I think it is better at Demon Slayer in is the animation style and the script. I think the writing is better in Berserk. Berserk tends to get biblical a lot of times. So if that's not what you are, if that's not something that you like, then don't watch it. Like, as a Christian, that I should not be. How did that happen? As a Christian, I should not be into shows like that, but I say that, but there is somebody at my church who actually watched the show as well. But other shows that I am gonna be continuing to watch. I'm gonna get back to Parasite the Maxim, and there is a show that I am putting back up. Yeah, that shows. I have little cousins who've watched Demon Slayer. Like, that show blew up. Like, it was anime of the year that it first came out. That show really blew up. A lot of people were cosplaying as Demon Slayer characters. Like, that show, seriously. And Natsuki Hanai is everywhere. Like, Natsuki Hanai is everywhere. He's been in so many shows. You know, he was in Tokyo Ghoul, he was in Seven Deadly Sins, he was in Dandadan. Like, he is everywhere. Yeah, thank you. One thing, yeah, that was the thing with that person's channel, that there were a lot of people clowning people that he was interviewing for their anime takes. Like, saying that certain shows they think are better than other shows, because at the end of the day, it's people's opinion. It's just that, yeah, I personally do not agree that Berserk is better than Demon Slayer. But yeah, I'm getting back to, Parasite, and then a show that I had given up on a long time ago, I'm going back to. I am gonna go back to watching Attack on Titan, because I just feel like I'm missing out. Like, I watched the first season a very long time ago, and then I put the show down. But Attack on Titan's first opening song, really good. But yeah, and based on other TikToks that I'm seeing, and some of the lore about it, I'm definitely gonna pick that back up and see if I want to continue it. But another thing that I was watching, there's this drama tuber, as a VTuber who does, like, news, who posted about this content creator, if you can even call her that, who has been completely staking her entire channel on essentially clickbaiting and spreading misinformation in the process of clickbaiting. You know, like, I know that when I first was starting, there were some streams where I was talking about popular VTubers, but I will absolutely, like, I don't care how long it takes for me to reach my goals. I am not gonna do it in any unethical way. Like, I'm gonna reach these goals in the most ethical way possible. Like, there is no reason why you are making clickbait titles about somebody's illness. Like, some people just have no morals. So that was one thing that I watched, but then also I watched clips and highlights from Kai Cenat's Streamer University, and that was a disaster. And he said it himself that he is never doing it again. That was an absolute disaster. Yes, thank you very much, Cameron. Like, the idea that he had for this streamer university was such a really great idea, but I just feel like he didn't take into account how the people he was inviting were going to behave when there. Because these people were an absolute train wreck. A lot of these people were an absolute train wreck, and they were stressing him out. There was bullying, there was fighting, people just being complete boneheads. And like I said, he said himself, he is never doing that again. Maybe he'll change his mind, but as of right now, he said he is never doing that again. Like, watching those highlights made me think, I wouldn't even want to be around those people. They reminded me a lot of the kids at my high school. Where I'm from, the kids in these schools, extremely ghetto. So, and I had to take public transportation with them kids. So, I always think about how terrible my 9th grade year was. Alright, take your time, Cameron, take your time. So yeah, like, maybe Kai will do something else. In terms of, like, helping other creators. Maybe he'll do a different thing, because he said he is never doing Streamer University again. And I've also been working on, of course, writing lyrics for a song. At some point I'll be done with that, and at some point I'll record. But I gotta say, so far this is looking so much better. Like, this is going so much smoother than the first 3 streams that I was doing. And yeah, like, just following the person's steps, the person in the video, just following the steps, this is looking so much smoother. And just so much better in every way. I need to make sure that if I didn't leave a comment on that guy's video, I need to make sure I do. Hang on one second, I'm gonna some water. Alright. I really want to know what the heck I was doing the other 3 streams. I've also been thinking, like, maybe the dream of creating my own video game is too ambitious, because that's really gonna cost a ton of money, and that's gonna be a lot of stress. But if I don't do that, I want to do something like for my lore, like a whether it's gonna be a multiple part series of videos on the channel or something. Just something where you really can get the full Koga Nobuyoshi and Yami Fujita lore. Maybe a whole video game is too ambitious, but you're gonna get something. I want to know how people were using drawing pads in Gartic Phone. I feel like it should just. I feel like just how I'm doing it here, I might be able to just go ahead and do it in there too. But that's. I might consider doing that the next time anybody plays Gartic Phone with me. I might just do it this way, cause drawing with a mouse and keyboard is just not the move. Yeah, the people who draw so good on Gartic Phone are the ones who are using drawing pads. Like, you can tell who's using a drawing pad and who's using a mouse and keyboard. And you can tell who's a professional artist because they don't give you a whole lot of time, depending on which game you're playing. They don't give you a whole bunch of time. But yeah, like some playlists that I have saved as well are drawing streams from like people like Ina Raura and formerly known as Mume. I still have her playlist saved from when she drew Hololive members. Because even though they're not using Illustrate, Clip Studio Paint is very, very similar in terms of the interface, the tools, and all that. But something that I learned from watching another streamer, I think Clip Studio Paint also has an animation feature. Because this streamer, her name's Rose Doodle, she was drawing things, and she was animating them all in the same app. So that's pretty cool. That Clip Studio Paint has all that. That seems like a much more affordable option as opposed to getting the entire Adobe Creative Suite and paying $700 a year for it. But the only reason I'm doing that is because the jobs that I'm applying for, and they're all saying that they want you to be professional, they want you to be experienced with the Creative Suite. So that's why I got the Creative Suite and stopped using DaVinci Resolve to edit my videos and started using Premiere Pro instead, because I used to use Premiere Pro and Premiere Rush anyway. But DaVinci Resolve, well, after college, I no longer had free access to the Creative Suite, the Creative Cloud, so I really don't. Well, no, they don't say only the Creative Suite, but that's primarily one of them. They say the Creative Suite or other popular softwares like Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve. Some of the jobs mentioned as well. Microsoft even has a video editing app now. They probably been had it for a while, but I am noticing it And by the way, I did get a new laptop last week. I forgot to mention that a couple weeks ago. I should definitely tell this story. A couple weeks ago, I sent my older laptop in to a store to get it repaired because I updated it to Windows 11, and after I did that, it was crashing every time I put it to sleep. Like, when I put it to sleep, it would not be able to wake up. So I took it to them. A few days later, they say that they resolved the problem, but now the Wi-Fi doesn't work. And they said that if we can't get the Wi-Fi to work, we're gonna have to ship it out to our repair services, which would have cost $85. And I'm just like, I didn't come to you guys with a Wi-Fi issue. The Wi-Fi was working perfectly fine when I gave you guys a laptop. This was an issue that you guys caused. So why should I be financially responsible for that? So instead I got store credit for the original laptop and used that store credit towards a new laptop. That laptop was a few years old anyway, but it's a shame that I had to give it up. It was working perfectly fine, just crashing every time you put it to sleep. But since I'm not streaming on a laptop anymore, I definitely do not have a means for a gaming laptop anymore. So, it's good that I probably should try to do the teardrop before I finish doing the rest of the stuff around it. So yeah, it's good that I got a new laptop. Because had I kept it, you know, at some point it was probably going to start developing more issues anyway. I really like that it's correcting all the strokes. Or at least trying to correct it. And I am so glad that I watched that tutorial, man. And so glad that I went back to taking notes. So that I can remember. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Cameron. Let me see what that looks like now. That's another, speaking of which, that reminds me of something else that I was doing. I was looking up how to tell the difference between an image that was handmade and an image that was AI generated. And one of my friends from work told me that an intern at her college was fired because they were in charge of posting on social media a promotional thing about the school. So, but what they did was they AI generated a picture of the school's mascot logo. They AI generated it. And this is what I'm talking about. AI is good for certain things, like certain professional things. It has absolutely no place in art. In any form of art. Like, you got people making AI music, AI images. Like, it has no place in that sphere. Yeah, it's good. It's good when it's good in a professional setting, but I absolutely do not like that. And this is just me being like in a part of the of an older generation. Like, I don't like that every service that I'm using is utilizing AI now. And everywhere I go, there's a feature for AI. Like, Photoshop has a feature where you can AI generate stuff. All the Creative Suite apps probably have stuff where you can do that. Google and everything involved with Google, YouTube has that little, I think it's Gemini in the corner. And now YouTube does this very stupid thing where it gives you an AI summary of the chats. Like, I don't want to see that. Like I do not need to see a summary of what the chat is talking about. I can go back and watch the VOD of the stream if I want context on anything. Because all that chat summary does is get in the way of the chat. Like, I don't need to see that. You got Microsoft utilizing AI in its apps. Yeah, everything is using AI. But yeah, the article that I read talking about a way to tell an AI image from a handmade image, they said that AI art and AI in general aims for absolute precision and perfection. That's where you already go wrong in art. Aiming for absolute precision and perfection is already a mistake. They said that the artists thrived off of showcasing their imperfections in their work. The imperfections in their art helped give it character. And this is what the article said. The imperfections help give the art character. So, striving for absolute perfection deducts the character of the overall art. They showed the real Screaming Man art painting, and they showed an AI generated version of it. And I was like, well, that's just clear, that's just obvious. But I see what they're saying, how the AI image looked just so much sharper. But the real image looks more realistic. You know, when I think about my two monitors, I say that the monitor to my left is much more colorful, but the monitor to my right, which I use for gaming and everything else, the drawing and all that stuff, it's a more realistic look on this monitor. I use a Samsung, it's a Samsung monitor. I already forgot the full name of it, but it's a Samsung monitor. It has a more realistic visual quality than the monitor that I got as a Christmas gift. This monitor is much more colorful, but not as much of a realistic look. Still looks great though. Alright. We're approaching an hour of the stream already. And I am still on the sketching phase. Yeah, I'm glad that my stories are interesting. I gotta be better. I want to be better with that, like having interesting stories to talk about, because I always see TikTok clips or YouTube Shorts clips of streamers giving the most interesting, entertaining stories. You know, like, and they're just being themselves. They're not even like pretending to be something else. It's just genuinely their personality. But yeah, like I definitely want to try being more entertaining in my streams. Like, I don't like that I'm, like, when I first started out, I didn't like that I was so quiet unless something was happening. I didn't like that the only time I was getting remotely loud was when I was snapping at a game, like crashing out over a game. And I don't like that I crash out on games anyway, but that's a normal thing. People get mad when they play games. And then we just laugh about it later. Because seriously, I look back at my streams and I listen to myself crashing out. And I'm just like, God, I sound so annoying. But the one thing that had me and my stepdad cracking up, I was literally watching a video of compilations of people raging while playing Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like people like crashing out playing this game. One of these dudes literally looked like he was gonna turn into a Super Saiyan, which is why the thumbnail was a screenshot of him, and they photoshopped a Super Saiyan hairstyle on his head, because he literally like did a gesture that looked like he was about to turn into a Super Saiyan. And he was in a bunch of the compilations. Like he had, there were a bunch of clips of that same person, because his crash outs were the funniest. Even when he won a fight, he was crashing out. There was a fight that he actually won, but he was still crashing out. I know that I have absolutely crashed out playing Smash Ultimate. I have broken multiple controllers. And not even just from crashing out, just in general playing that game has broken my multiple controllers. Because I just feel like those controllers cannot handle the rapid, like the joystick specifically, can't handle the being moved around that quickly, like that violently. I've broken controllers from playing Smash Ultimate, either because I threw them or because, like, over time the joystick gets worn out from all the constant rapid violent motion. You know, that game, that joystick is being abused when you play Smash. And I've never streamed Smash, and I don't think I will, because I really do not want to be on stream flipping out on that game. But at this point I flipped out plenty of times. But yes, like the controllers, my controllers, specifically the joysticks, have broken. Like, multiple controllers have gotten to the point where the joystick simply does not work properly. Like, you're trying to move, and the cursor is not moving the way you want it to, or simply, as soon as you go into the screen, the cursor just jumps up to the top of the screen, and you can't move it. Like, the cursor just jumps up to the top of the screen, and you can't move it. And there was a time where I was playing Smash with a messed up joystick, and the characters kept ducking over and over again. They would just keep ducking and ducking and ducking, and I'm just like, why are they ducking down? And I realized it's because the joystick was messed up. So that game has, like, I've gone through controllers playing that game. But I have the most hours in that game out of all the games I've played on the Switch. I was always upset whenever I broke anything playing that game. Like, I was always upset at myself whenever anything was broken, because I like to get the themed controllers. So I really cannot stand when those stop working. Like, I gotta stop throwing. I gotta stop hurting the controllers. I mean, I threw the controller when I was playing Persona 5. like wasn't necessarily a throw, it was more like a hard drop, but because it's already sitting pretty low, like under the table. But like during one of the last Persona 5 streams, I think it was the stream before the finale, like, and it's on my TikTok as well. I had the clip. That scene, that part of the game where I was fighting Michael, and the two personas to the left and right of him fully restored his health when he was very close to being dead, and made me nearly give up. Like I said, I'm not trying anymore. I threw the remote. I ended up losing that fight the first time and having to try it again, and I beat it the second time. Yeah, testing to see if the controller can fly. Yeah, exactly. And testing its durability. You know, I want to see if I throw it against this metal bed rest, will it completely combust or will it still survive? Like, it's such a waste of money when I break stuff that I bought. I literally took a bus all the way to a mall to buy a controller that is now broken. One second. Alright, I had to plug my phone in. Alright. And by the way, I was playing Persona 5, like, starting the Okumura Palace onward on the easy difficulty. And was still, like, struggling a little bit. The final boss I beat on the first try. But that fight, like, my personas were definitely not as strong as they could have been. See, that's the thing. I don't know if I have enough. Well, I could definitely attempt it, but I'm not an insanely talkative person, so I don't know how long I'll be able to keep a story going. I know, because I know that there are definitely plenty of streamers who do streams where they are just talking. And it's because they have... this is why I like when people are in the chat, because that helps. That helps. That's what helps me to keep talking. Like when I can talk with the chat. And there are streamers who do streams where they are simply talking with their community. Because they tell stories and chat helps to keep them going. I gotta say though, this drawing is definitely coming out very nicely. Like, it is definitely coming out very, very nicely. I'm gonna hide this for a second. Oh, you can barely even see a difference. Okay. Alright, we're almost done. But I mentioned that I was gonna go back to watching Attack on Titan earlier. What inspired me to make that decision is there's these TikToks that I keep on seeing where, and speaking of AI, where there are these AI generated anime character debates. And these debates are really intense. Like, these debates had me looking stuff up about the show's lore to make sure I understood everything perfectly. You know, people were checking me about one of the debates because I made a comment about Obito. And people were checking me, and I'm just like, I know it's been a minute since I've watched Naruto, but I definitely remember going back and watching specifically the filler episode where Obito was on Team 7. Well, I don't remember if it was Team 7 back then. When Obito was with Kakashi, Rin, and Minato. I don't remember if it was called Team 7 or not. But that, when he was still with that team, and he got crushed by the boulders and yada yada yada, and he snapped seeing Rin. I won't spoil too much, I won't say too much, but I snapped seeing what happened to Rin. At this point, if you haven't seen the show, you're really missing out. But snapping after seeing what happened to Rin, and then him, like, I made a comment saying that the Obito was willing to watch the whole show. Basically, yes. Like, I've skipped episodes, but yes, back in like high school, college days, I was binging that show as much as I could. Back then, I was not watching on a subscription service. I was watching with ads, so it took longer to finish. But yeah, I remember watching, binging that show. So I understood that Obito essentially waged a war on the world. He was willing to change the entire world and trap everybody in this dream paradise because he couldn't live in a world where Rin did not exist. But people were checking me, they were saying like he was doing it for everybody, not just for himself. I'm like, well, his intentions were good. His intentions were good, but his methods were definitely not good. Obviously. Because again, he waged a war on the entire world. First of all, Madara pretty much piloted all of this. But yeah, Obito was willing to plunge the entire world into war and change the entire world because he couldn't bear to live in a world where he had to grieve Rin's death. So, but people were telling me that what he was really saying was that he just believed that the world was just very cruel. And so, and like cruel and unjust, so he wanted to make a world where everybody could live in peace. But again, it sounds good. There's so many villains in anime who do this. And I realized that that plot is very similar to Persona 5's plot with Maruki. How Maruki was creating these false realities for everybody. You know, he wanted to create these realities for people where, you know, they didn't have to live in a world where they were dealing with whatever they were dealing with. So for Kasumi, it was that, first of all, her real name is not Kasumi, but she wanted to live in a world where she didn't have to grieve and feel responsible for her own sister's death. So the entire time she had the fake name Kasumi, and then with Futaba, it was her mother being dead, and suddenly she was alive. You know, all these things were happening, and it was like, you know, this may be nice, but it's not our reality. So yeah, anyway, but that's the reason why it made me want to watch Attack on Titan, was because a lot of people were debating with Eren Yeager. A lot of the AI generated debates were involving Eren Yeager, who I did not even know had pretty much turned into the antagonist of the show. I have to watch the show to see what happens, but based on the debates, it pretty much sounds like everybody was saying he created a genocide within his world. He destroyed about 80% of his own population, and a lot of people were just saying he was a control freak. He had a god complex, or no, they were saying that about Light from Death Note. They were saying he had a god complex. These debates were insane. Alright, well that was so, but I have finished creating the rough sketch. I have created the rough sketch of this eye. It took about an hour. I would say this is the first successful drawing stream I've done. Like, those last 3 streams, oh my goodness, I had no idea what I was doing. And then I watched one tutorial and I'm like, I know exactly what to do now. So, in the next stream, I will do the inking part, the final sketch part, the part that's labeled in red at the top right. I will do that final sketch part, and then after that, we'll be coloring it in. Because my goodness, when I tell you I was doing everything on the same layer and messing stuff up because of that, and it took my little cousins telling me about how I should be using different layers. It's just like, they're younger than me, and yet they have more experience with art than I do. You know, because one of my cousins does use a digital drawing app, and her art looks pretty nice, pretty good. So, but yeah, this eye, for a rough sketch, has clearly some imperfections, but it already looks way better than what I was drawing in the other 3 streams. So, can't wait to get back to this. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned tomorrow for Miyami. She'll be back to do the Persona, hopefully, Persona 3 Reload final finale, because this is part 3 of the finale now. She is really gonna try to finish the entire rest of this game. So, hang on. So yes, thank you guys for watching, and Yami will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.